back everyone, Marcelo is my name. I am the niche fragrance collector. Been doing a deep dive into all things Orto Parisi, and today I'm going to get straight into it. Have a look at this. So this is the fragrance I want to talk about today. It's called STERCUS. I don't know if you can see the color. It's kind of, it doesn't come up so well. It's a bit reflective, but it's kind of browny, sort of diarrhea, poopy looking color that's on in the bottle. If you look at now at the inlay, for those who have had the opportunity of being on a farm and seeing cow patties, you know what they are, right? Have a look at that inlay. It's a very cow patty look about it. The fragrance is called STERCUS. And the question is, what does that mean? What does that mean? Some of you are already smirking, going, hey, I know what this means. For those who may not be familiar, STERCUS is the Latin word for feces, poop. So what are we talking about here? Did I just spray this diarrhea-looking poop fragrance on my hand? The short answer is no, it is a perfume. The longer answer is Alessandro Gaultieri is a very good marketer. Apart from being an outstanding perfumer, he's a very clever marketer. And he knows what pushes people's buttons and what people go, hang on a second, what are we talking about here? If I quickly define what is STERCUS, for me, it's a very aromatic wood. That's the way it begins. It then evolves into this leathery, chocolatey kind of vibe. Finally, it settles into a very oud-based fragrance. Still retains those early components, has that earthiness that I mentioned, the woods component. The aromatics have come down a bit. And when I say aromatics, I almost feel like there's an artemisian there. I am certain I'm getting some kind of bright aromatic menthol almost kind of note coming through on that opening. I sprayed on this hand here Nasomato's absinthe, and it has, on the opening of this fragrance, it has those herbal components to it. For Alessandro, the whole Orto Parisi is a tribute to his grandfather, and I feel like STERCUS is a love song to his grandfather's garden. The fragrance has equal part attraction and repulsion. So when I'm working in my garden, there's the beautiful sweet smell of the earth, the fragrant nature of the plants that are in my garden. But there's also the manure, the fertilizer that's actually in the garden. So it's this beautiful blend of attraction, but also repulsion when it comes to that scent profile. And I feel like he's actually done that here. The oud that is being used here in this fragrance, there is a fecal pungent component to it. I know that there is Indian oud out there, and that is very fecal-like. This is not that kind of fragrance, but it does have the pungent oud component of it all. There are two ingredients that he uses in all his fragrances within Orto Parisi. One is boya butter, and it is an acronym for blow out your ass butter. The second one is pisse de cheval, which is, direct translation, horse piss. Now you think that I am goofing around, but I'm not. So when I bought my Orto Parisi, I actually got this kerchief, which I use as something that I use for my suit. We'll look at the imagery as a whole for starters. And you can see that it's what looks to be a sunflower drinking some kind of beverage and smoking a pipe while he is farting. So he's blowing out of his ass. And then down the bottom, you'll see that there's like a judge-looking character with a walking stick. And on it, it says, well, it's B-O-Y-A, so boya is on there. And then on the other side, where there's a slug, there is a little sign underneath, which is pisse de cheval. So what does all this mean? Boya butter essentially is the name that Alessandro has given to oud. So oud, as I mentioned before, depending where it's sourced from, has a very fecal-like quality. Indian oud is classic for that, very strong, very pungent. And then pisse de cheval is actually a bacteria that forms within all organic living things. It comes out of your urine and your feces. Now, what it is about this component, and it's a synthetic note that he's actually constructed called P. cresol. Actually, I'll put it here. for those who really want to get into the molecular of it all. He's replicated that in the fragrance. The thing about this Piste Cheval, what it does is that it creates an equal part attraction and repulsion. And I think, I guess the best way to do it is think about when you do a fart and what happens in that moment where there is equal parts of, oh my gosh, what the heck? And then you're like, hang on a second, that's interesting. So that's what he's working on, those two ingredients. And that's what and this is what he's saying about the whole Orto Parisi range. So these perfumes are designed to make us go, what was that? But at the same time go, oh my gosh, what was that? It's the same question, but one of those is repulsion, whilst the other one is attraction. I'm curious to know whether a lot of people are familiar with Stercus, what your thoughts on Stercus, because I feel like it doesn't get a lot of airtime. But yet, this one here is spectacular. It is warm. At times I get like chocolatey notes coming through. I do get like a caramel warmth about it. It is an oud fragrance, so it does never ever go into a gourmand sort of place. There are leathery components to it, as I mentioned. There are almost tobacco-like early notes in it, very earthy. There are wood notes in there. I feel that it's a very masculine-leaning fragrance. When it comes to its longevity, it is your fragrance for the day, 12 plus hours without any problem at all. I'll wake up in the morning, I am smelling Stercus on me. As I said, it doesn't have an enormous push, so it's not something that you're going to overpower your office with. It's definitely a fragrance that will sit around you comfortably. So there you have it, Stercus, a fragrance that I would strongly recommend that you go test out. I'm glad that he didn't call it feces in the end. It would have been, well, I don't know if the sales would have been that great. There have been some comparisons to Black Afghano. I'm not finding that. I feel that Black Afghano has that green cannabis component to it. This one here, as I mentioned, does have more of a warmth, chocolatey, leathery creaminess to it. The oud is very, very smooth. It's not fecal-like, even though that's what the name of it is. Thank you, everyone. Hope you enjoyed that. We'll see you guys all on the next episode.